Hello everyone, my name's Dacia. I'm your expert in small group communications, and I hear that your group has had some dysfunctional issues recently with your new team member coming in and trying to figure out what to do for the new holiday sales. So I'm here to help you out, but first we're gonna do a fun activity before I do any lecturing or anything. We're gonna do an escape room.
One hour later.
Now that you've done the escape room, what are some skills that you needed to have, or some personality traits and stuff that helped you get through the room faster and work as a team? Okay, there need to be leadership. What else? Communication. Splitting up roles. Different ideas when you encounter a problem, right? There are things that help you in escape rooms, but there are also skills and stuff that help you with everything else too, in communication at work, communication at home, and everything else. Small group communication basics right here. Okay guys, so the escape room that you just did was a step in the socialization process that happens with every small group. And basically, for your small group, having been together and working together for 1 year, you guys are pretty solid. Except recently, you had a new member, Tom, join the group, and I've heard that you guys have had some problems. So first, let's break down exactly what the socialization process phases are. So the first phase is the antecedent phase, where you guys first met and you had your first biases and judgments of each other. And then you went into your anticipatory phase, where, you start to think about the goals of your group. You start thinking about what you're expecting from one another, how hardworking everyone is and how much work everyone is willing to put in for the common goal. And you come into the encounter phase. Get together and you start formulating exactly the goals that you want to do, the things you want to get done, and you also start to assign roles, like leader, record keeper, organizer, planner. And those are some things that came up in the escape room too. You probably had someone who was working on one kind of puzzle, someone else who was checking up on everyone else, another person who was just looking for clues and stuff like that. So all those roles are important in any small group. Now, most of the group, except for you, Tom, have come to the assimilation phase, where you guys have rituals and norms that you are used to, and you kind of get used to being in the group itself as well. You meet somewhere, same place every time, maybe the same time of the day. You basically already have kind of things that you already do as a group and things that you all already know as a group. But Tom, with being a new member, doesn't know these norms. And then the last phase, which you guys aren't in because you're still a small group, but it's the exit phase at the very end, where you already accomplished all your goals. Either it was a positive experience or a negative experience, and you will have left with some kind of lasting impression about small group work, about the people that you worked with. So the main problem that you guys have is with leadership, who is important in reaching goals and making decisions and being the facilitator and dealing with conflict. So obviously there's different kinds of leaders, but there are some trends of good leadership and bad leadership. Good leadership tends to have more of a shared leadership within the group, because that helps all group members feel like their needs are all being addressed, and how everyone can help be a part of the leadership process as well. So there's not just one person taking control and having everyone follow their ideals, instead of everyone coming together, sharing ideas all together, and all their ideas being heard to come to solve the problem. Leader is engaged in the process, has good communication, good listening skills, provides good frequent feedback, and understands that there are common interests within the group. Whereas a bad leader or an ineffective leader will work towards their own self-interests and is more of a poor listener and doesn't really provide enough feedback for the group members to really feel like they should know what they should work on, and they avoid conflict or handle conflict poorly. And with your situation, it's not so much good leadership versus poor leadership is that there's two people who are good, both good leaders, but haven't figured out a way to make that a shared leadership kind of system that will work for everyone. So the main conflict being seen in this group right now is called affective conflict, which is basically focused on individuals' communication and personality traits. Obviously, in this situation, it's based on the personalities of our two people here, Tom and Alice, especially with Tom coming in not knowing the norms or anything, and Alice having the experience and knowing the group members, kind of fighting for the role of being the team leader. Because that ineffective leadership, it's an issue and everyone's more focused on the problem that you two are having rather than the goals that the group has set together. Now, the best way to handle this conflict or any kind of conflict is the integrating conflict handling style that leans towards a solution that will satisfy all members, not just the leader, without, just one person giving up stuff that they want for everyone else. It's more of like a compromising situation where you're just trying to get the best for everyone in the group. Another important aspect of small groups is the diversity in groups. So in order to kind of like see how diverse your group is, it's kind of like an old game from school, never have I ever. Like, never have I ever visited another country, never have I ever, gone scuba diving. I played an instrument or two. So this activity shows why diversity is important in any group, because it's always good to have multiple perspectives, because if you only have one, it's kind of a narrow-minded, and you don't really have a lot of options or a lot of worldviews to draw from. And you can see everyone has different experiences in this game, grown up in different environments, and that shapes their worldviews and helps provide varied perspectives. And having these different experiences and different people can help prevent getting stuck on a problem, because there are so many different ideas that can come out of it. So every group should be striving towards cohesiveness, where everyone feels an acceptable level of desire to stay in the group. And for that to happen, there needs to be a supportive communication climate. Everyone should feel like they're being heard and they're contributing and being valued in the group. And there should be a level of acceptance and satisfaction felt from all members. So the communication climate is really important. It's formed by the type of communication that's in the group, whether it's like positive or negative, and that forms into two different kinds of communication climates. The first being a supportive communication climate, where everyone feels like they're being heard and everyone feels like their ideas are being valued. And then there's the other kind, where it's a defensive communication climate, where people feel like they're not being heard and their ideas aren't being valued, and that could lead to a negative experience. In order to create a supportive climate, there should be positive messages being shared, keeping an open mind to all ideas, and listening to all contributions, and seeing that all contributions are valid and they should all be heard. To form and create the cohesion in the group that you're striving for, there's task and social cohesion being created with positive messages and feedback and all that. The social cohesion especially is important because it fulfills the emotional needs of the team members, because that will help create a positive impression of small group work and impressions of the group members for the future. And this also plays into the solution for your group, because by listening to everyone, you can work towards a kind of shared leadership style. Maybe instead of just thinking that there should only be one leader, everyone should have leadership type qualities contributing to the group. And that, there can be two leaders, and that's totally fine. They can share the role. It's just as long as there's a supportive climate being fostered here. I hope this workshop helped, kind of explain some concepts and open eyes to some different ideas and solutions to how to, kind of fix the conflict here, and everyone plays an important role in the group to work towards a supportive climate that will ultimately end up creating an experience where goals are met and everyone's needs are fulfilled and everyone walks away feeling like they were heard and they were valued and that it was a supportive environment so that they can move on in the future to other small groups with a positive connotation.